watching the Scouser
and the Scot. Today we have got Zhany and Steve from Rockin the Bowl in Sheffield. Hi guys, how you doing? Everything okay over there?
All right, hi guys, nice to see you.
Yeah,
we're good.
Too.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
That's good. Keeping well during these strange times.
Doing the best we can.
Surprisingly enough, yeah, very upbeat and positive.
It's the best way.
I wouldn't say we're having a ball, but we're feeling good, thank you.
It's good to hear. So we've got a few questions for you today, and we might as well hit it off and start the ball rolling. Can you give us a bit of an insight into yourself, your involvement in the music industry to date?
Yeah, of course.
Sure. Okay. Rockin the Bowl is kind of our second project. We've done stuff before within the industry, worked with another festival quite comprehensively. Why? Well, been a rock fan all our life. Foremost, we are rock fans, end of. And we decided that we'd just like to give a little bit more back. And there might have been a few people who thought, well, you know, putting yourself into a saturated market is a little bit crazy, but it's working. And so we just persevered and thought, oh, well, if you don't do it, that's not rock and roll's about. It's about taking chances, going for it. And here we are. It was just wanting to kind of give something back to the industry that gave us so much.
Yeah, definitely. And been a rock fan for as long as I can remember. Still remember trying to save up some money to buy a Metallica tape. So it all started from there. And then had to cross an entire continent to start enjoying live music. So when I met Steve, he showed me what live rock music was all about, and I just fell in love. And one of my first gigs was Maiden. So that, you know, it just changed everything, and then he said, well, how about we put on a rock festival? And I said, well, you know, let's do it. You know, it's hard work, but we'll do it. It will be fun. Maybe in about 3 or 4 years time, we'll actually get to watch the show as well. So it will be all right.
So can you tell us a bit about when you come up with the idea of Rockin the Bowl, you know, when that concept came through, what your idea for it was, how you envisaged it? Did it come out to be the way you envisaged it? And why did you think about it in that way?
Initially, we were thinking, we started off when we moved to Sheffield. I mean, I was born and raised in Sheffield, and then we moved away. I moved away from Sheffield, lived my life, did various things, met Zhany, and we came back here. And while we were here, we were thinking, I just noticed how a lot, not all, but a lot of bands and a lot of rock and roll started to bypass this town. And it has such a massive rock heritage. Whether you go from, you know, the indie rock like the Arctic Monkeys all the way to Def Leppard and just on the outskirts, Saxon, etc. and so forth. But there was the little pub gigs, which are the lifeblood of new rock music. And fingers crossed, long may they continue. And then there was the big arena shows. But there was a gap in between. There was nothing in between the big stuff and the small stuff. And we thought that there needs to be something here. And there also needs to be keeping us part of this new sort of wave that is coming over, whether it be the new wave of classic rock or whether it be whatever that involves. And Sheffield needs to be a big part of that. And so we just said we need to do something. And the venue just presented itself from the old Don Valley Stadium, where the Def Leppard Thunder thing happened, Bon Jovi, the U2, the Rolling Stones, and it had all gone. So we thought, all right, there's a little field next door called Don Valley Bowl. let's phone the council and see if we can have it. And it was born from there.
It was, the idea was to have a, as Steve said, a medium-sized event which could be used as a stepping stone for bands that have worked hard. They've got a following that is stable, but they just need a break. They need someone to put them on a big stage instead of an indoor stage, and give them the opportunity to shine. And that was one of the main ideas behind Rockin the Bowl, really.
Yeah, if I could just sort of spend another 2 minutes on this one, particularly like Zhany said, we saw when we came back here in pubs and clubs, local pubs that you know, in the Sheffield area, bands on stage that had so much talent, so much quality, so much musicianships, and you look behind you and there's 12 people stood there. Like, this is just not right. These bands deserve more. And it takes somebody to just take a leap of faith and take the chance on it to try and raise the bar for them.
No, it makes absolute perfect sense.
Okay.
You know, because
I think one of the things that jumps out at me is you saw a need, you saw a gap, and because you're passionate, I would say it's a passion actually for your home city and your heritage there and your love of the music. You saw a gap there, and I think, if truth be told, both Ian and I live in the Liverpool area, and it's lacking here. The place that created the Beatles, for God's sake, you know, it's ridiculous. And there's so many great bands, but we have the same problem here, and it's something that we want to do. And I think anybody that's watching this that has that passion for where they come from, sees that gap, and like you did, I think we need more of that. I think you should be applauded for it, being 100% honest with you.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, 100% in agreement with that. It doesn't matter whether it's Sheffield, Liverpool, Bristol, Cardiff, or whatever. There's the passion and the desire to keep this side of the music industry, this particular genre, alive and well. I mean, the bands that we see in pubs, just like it was in the 80s and late 70s with the likes of Maiden, on the future's download headliners. We gotta play our little part in making that happen. That's how I see it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what? It makes absolutely perfect sense, and the way you're doing it, you've great festival. You've got a lot of support because you can't just do it on your own. No. Can you give us a little bit of information, like what are your roles within the actual festivals, from setting it all up right the way through? Like, you know, tell us about your roles. What's your roles and responsibilities doing it?
Yeah, okay, sure. We like to play on each other's strengths. I mean, we're husband and wife, and we also own another business where we've worked for many years together, and we know each other's working styles very well. So it's a matter of encouraging each other to do what we're good at, and then stepping back and letting the other person shine, which can be very hard when you're working with a partner. It really can. So if somebody is thinking of doing that with a loved one or with a brother or sister, conflict will happen, and it's very important to have that division between working time and personal time, because otherwise it just takes over your life. So that's the first thing. And in terms of roles, we both like to keep to what we're good at. So Steve books bands because he's got an eye and an ear for these things, and I love my music, but I haven't got his I don't know, sixth sense for it, I guess. I don't know what to call it. It's probably fine-tuned over the years of listening to bands, good and bad, in underground venues throughout the country. So he books the bands, and basically the festival was his idea to start with. I'm just helping him with whatever I can. So we started off doing absolutely everything, just the two of us. And then the first year, not entirely like that, but pretty much 8 or 9 months of it, we did just the two of us, and then brought in some more help. later on. And for example, Gino Delora was an absolute star. He just got on board with the idea and he just said, yeah, let's do this, let's work it out. And he helped us enormously. And then after the first event went, we said, okay, it's time to have a team. And my advice is, don't get a team to start with before you know what you need, because you may end up with too many people, each pulling in a different direction and not having a focus and a vision. So it does help when you keep it quite small, help when you need it. Because you're not, it can't be a one-man band. It's doomed, really, unless you are super talented and have 25 hours in the day.
Specific roles, like Zhany said, playing to your strengths. All of the team people that we've kind of built up, it wasn't a case of advertising for a media person. It wasn't a case of advertising for a stage manager. Those specific skills are extremely important, because you, like a jigsaw, one piece is missing, you haven't got a complete picture. And the first thing we were looking for was people who are true of heart, down to earth, real people, no bull, no rubbish. It's all about the rock and roll. And after we got that people, and like, okay, we get your passion, it's the same as ours. Now what can you do?
Tell us your skills and we'll offer you a role.
If person X, I mean, we've got somebody who is part of the hospitality industry. She used to work, Jack Skinner, she used to work for hotels and everything. Like, we don't know anything about liaising with hotel people and getting the best deal.
I did such a big year out of it last year. Honestly, I did. So now we've got Jack's on board. I'm very happy.
So we've just got people who are passionate, and we play to their strengths and say, this is a really good person and they can help us a lot. And if we built our team with that ethos of, if you're really passionate about what you're doing and you're passionate about rock and roll, it's going to benefit everybody. And so what I do is what I feel I'm good at doing. And I won't overstep that boundary. If I'm into unknown territory, I don't have an ego about it. Like, okay, I know nothing about this. You do it. And I think, as like Zhany said, advice for anybody who's trying to be part of this industry in any way, shape or form: play to your own strengths and don't be too proud to say, I don't know this. Let's find somebody who does.
100%. I must admit, since I started with what I do, I've done the same thing. Is find the people with a heart. Initially I made a few mistakes where I picked people that I thought they had a skill set and a passion for it, but then it didn't quite work out that way. So now what I do is I find the people with the passion, the heart for it, and then find it, like you do, just exactly the same thing. Find the right person, and sometimes it isn't even obvious how they help. But if they're so passionate about what you're doing, then I think it's our responsibility to find them the right place and put them in the right job.
Can I talk for a second about trust? Because I find when people are younger, and many of the new bands are younger, it's hard to judge people, and it can be very difficult to find people with a heart, as you suggested. And we do end up making mistakes, we all do, and we learn from our mistakes, but it takes time. So you have to find that balance where you feel comfortable between trusting people and making sure you are coming together with the right people for your project. And just because somebody is not suitable for one project doesn't mean they won't be for the next one. So don't close doors behind you. Don't be nasty to people. After all, we're all here because we like the music, and we try to be as good as people as we can. And if someone's having a bad day, they might be having a better day the next time. So be aware that people are not necessarily can't be trusted or can be trusted. There are grey areas.
Oh, always, especially during current situations. No one's 100% happy. No one's always there. Then you've got to be there to support people. And I think the rock and metal community is such a loving community, and I mean that in, like, you know, in a realistic fashion. Like it's like you go to a festival and you've got people who you don't know, and they're singing along, and you're dancing with them, you're jumping up and down, you're getting into the actual vibe, and that's the key part of it. It's making sure people walk away smiling, feeling a part of something special, and that's what you guys have got with the actual festival. Like, so it's hats off to you guys all the time.
Yeah, 100%. So
thank you very much.
Can you give us some idea of your future plans for Rockin the Bowl, the development, and any other plans that you have that you're doing, like in the local area currently, up until the time when you can do Rockin the Bowl next year?
Yeah.
COVID restrictions apart.
Absolutely. Firstly, to address the first thing, the future of Rockin the Bowl, we said from the start, this isn't a fly-by-night one-off. We're in it for the long haul, and anybody, you guys, anybody else who's part of this industry knows, at our level, it's really not about the money. If we say Rockin the Bowl 19 lost money, nobody would be surprised. It's not. You can't treat that as a failure. You lost money. Well, okay. If your hobby is fishing, you lose money, you buy fishing equipment. If your hobby is, I don't know, whatever it is, you're going to lose money. But what we've done is turn our passion and our so-called hobby into a professionally run hobby.
Yeah.
It is still our passion and our hobby, but it's done on a professional basis. So we never thought Rockin the Bowl was just going to be 1 year, 2 years. Hey, well done. We can go on a quick holiday to the Caribbean. Thank you so long, and thanks for all the fish, sort of thing. It was never about that. It was always, okay, let's build it. Let's build it. Not for the prestige, not for the ego, just because that's what rock and roll needs. I do think that there is a sort of rock and metal is starting to go back to where it came from, underground roots, root venues, where the people go to see the band, and they know full well that after the show they'll get to meet that band, have a beer with the band, say hello to the band, get a connection going. And we wanted to sort of build that, but put that intimacy of the rock thing on a bigger scale. It's not the downloads of the world, no disrespect, an amazing festival, but you know, it's like looking at your heroes through a pair of binoculars, knowing you'll never speak to them after the show. Whereas Rockin the Bowl and festivals like it, you know that after that band comes off stage, there's every chance you'll see them at the bar. There's every chance you'll get to have a chat with them in the field somewhere on that weekend. And that is what we wanted to try and build upon, but keep that core grassroots feel to it, but give it a bigger platform. And that is our vision for Rockin the Bowl in the future. As for other events, we wanted to, like Forge Amp Initiative, Forge Ahead Initiative, sorry, it's same thing. But
I'm in charge of logos, so you know.
The logo queen.
And supporting our local venues such as the Corporation Nightclub in Sheffield. There's no reason why these can't be working together, rather than as opposed to, oh, you're this and we're that and never the twain shall meet. This is just not beneficial to the industry, especially at this time of the day. So we do have things in the pipeline. We have no intentions of diversifying into doing gigs.
Not
it's
really,
all
no.
sort of connected with the people we're connected to,
Mm.
and the people that we support and they support us. So we do have some little projects coming along locally, but they will always be involving Rockin the Bowl. They will always be involving Forge Amp. They will always involve local venues to help just spread the word.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, we got quite a big name in the pipeline, which we can't tell you who it is, but they're big.
Come on.
Yeah.
They're big. They're big
This is your
on
chance.
they're
This is
big
your
on an
chance.
international scale.
John, we're waiting. We're not going anywhere until we find out. Yeah, we did.
Okay,
John,
guys,
we'll mute it out. All right, we'll cut it. On it.
No, what we'll do is we'll wait till they've gone and then tell everybody it's Iron Maiden.
I promise you here, live on air, or recorded on air, but on air nonetheless, you'll get an exclusive. The first people who can say who it is will be you. Is that a deal?
That sounds
We'll
good.
bring you back. We'll bring you back on it just to do it, and
You've
we'll just
got
do
it.
the full announcement on our channel. So you'll have first. Actually, John, should we do our first live show?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that would be cool.
I think that would be cool. I'll be well up for that. That'd be awesome if we could do our first live show
Brilliant.
with
Yeah.
you guys.
And just
We'll definitely do it. But in the meantime, we're looking forward to our next little project, which of course John knows all about, which is the Outlaw Orchestra Corporation Forge Amp amalgamation gig, which currently, as we sit here, is still going ahead,
That's
strong
planned.
as ever, and all being well, it'll happen and it'll be great fun.
yeah,
That's nice.
100%. I mean, it's just I want people that's watching and listening to you guys to go away and think, do you know what? I'm going to get off my ass and I'm going to do this too, because I care the same as they do. And I think you don't need to have anything other than a desire to do it, a desire to learn, and like you said, a desire to bring in the right people around you to help it. But if you've got the passion, you can learn the rest. Because I'll tell you right now, it's easier to learn the knowledge if you've got the passion than have the knowledge and have no passion. And I think that's what I would like out of this. I'd like everybody to sit there and go, I'm going to do that. And like you said, Bristol, I'm going to do it in Glasgow, I'm going to do it in my old hometown of Ayr. That's what I want out of this.
Don't forget about transferable skills, you know. Transferable skills, people spend some time studying stuff and doing menial jobs. We all do when we're younger because we need the money and we need to pay the bills. But don't forget about those skills. Sit down with somebody. If you can't get the inspiration to think how you can apply yourself to the project, sit down and talk to somebody like yourselves, guys, who are trying to help people get into the business, but realistically get into it, not with rose tinted glasses. Sit down and have a think about how what they can do can be applied, and you'll be surprised how much you can actually do. If sometimes you're feeling like, oh, all I've ever done is work at the checkout and strum on a guitar, you've already got a set of at least 10 things that will help you. And even if you don't start at the top and organize a festival, because not everybody has that ability in their life. For example, we've been and other organs
at the top, I think. Half wheel, let's put it that way.
Let's put it that way. Not everybody has that courage and ability in their lives. Maybe you've got things in your life that you're responsible for. Maybe you've got a young child and you need every penny you can get. Fine. Help someone, volunteer for a few years, get a bit of experience, get a crew of people around you, and then do it. But don't be afraid to reach out and talk.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think, as I say, words speak volumes in my eyes, because that totally makes perfect sense. So just to go back to your festival again, like, because obviously you guys are well organized, well-oiled machine. So festival ends. When has the next festival started to get planned? Is it before the end of the festival, or is it as soon as you finish that festival? Where'd you go? Where'd you go from there?
We are currently looking at 2022.
Right. Okay.
I know the big boys in this industry are probably looking at 2025 before now. I always try to emphasize, be realistic, but still be ambitious. Think bigger than you are. There's various metaphors which involves human anatomy, but think big. For our first one, we contacted and got a message back from Ron Smallwood. Here's a little bit of insider information that nobody knows.
There you go.
So we said, could we have Iron Maiden playing under a synonym, a false name, just for the hell of it?
Yep.
I mean,
got a reply.
And he replied. He said no. But you know, after the entire Iron Maiden camp had stopped laughing, at least they admired us for our, for our audacity. Why not? Why not? So as soon as, even before we're finished with the previous one, we're already thinking about ambitions for the next one of making it bigger, making it better. If you aim for the absolute top and still fall a couple of degrees down, you still got a damn good festival, or you've got a damn good idea, whether it's a pub gig in a little village or whether it's right up there with thousands of people. It doesn't matter. Keep that aim, keep dreaming for the stars. But the nuts and bolts of it, as soon as the last bottle has been picked up from that site, as soon as the last soggy hamburger has been put into the skip, we're on to the next one. Physically emailing, planning, finding out
rebooking, subcontractors.
Yeah, what sort of promotion will get people revved up for it? How can we build on what we've already done? It's ongoing. We do have our own business, we do have our own day jobs, but there isn't more than a couple of hours every day go by when I don't at least think about Rockin the Bowl in one way, shape or form.
But that's passion, and like, you know what I mean, that's what you want to achieve, and that's what I admire from you. And I'm totally on board with you. I'm the same, where if you don't ask, you don't get. So it's one of the reasons we reach out to people like yourself and we ask those questions. Come on, support the new bands coming up, support the people in the music industry who are coming up. And we love this because this gives us the information which we can share with everyone, and they're just buying into it. And as I say, it's, if you don't ask, you don't get. So reach out for whatever you want to achieve. Totally 100%.
If anybody's thinking of going, sorry, John. If anybody's thinking about going along the same lines and sort of putting it out there, and they think, oh my, it's just too much. There's too many people out there. If there's nothing in your area, if there's nothing in your area, and you're not competing with anybody directly, there's always a space. Be realistic about your putting there. And the other thing is, you, as a rock fan foremost, use your intuition. I mean, people say, oh, how are you going to know what's big next year? And you look at it this year and you think, well, do you like it? Do I like it? Is this quality? Do you kind of recognize, does it send a spark in your head? Because if it does, it will do for a lot of other people as well. I think one of our bands from next year, I mean, every single one of them, from the first person to open one stage all the way to the headliner, I feel the passion for every last one of them.
Definitely.
But, as an example, a band that we just sort of like, I just had a gut feeling this band is going to do something. That's Collateral. And after that, I mean, even today, there's a little poll on the new wave of classic rock, and they're second on that poll for the best album of this year so far, above Massive Wagons, who are brilliant, and just below Those Damn Crows, who we would have had. Brilliant. But it's just that I got a feeling about this band. They are just so good. And I just say to people, if you've got a feeling about it, you're not the only one.
That's why he books the bands.
So given that you're both so passionate about music, the question that I need to ask is quite simple. So as this is happening, do you actually get the chance to enjoy it on the day?
I'll answer that one, I think. Well, last year, our stage manager had a pedometer on him. And at the end of the day, he had clocked on, what was it, 15 miles for the day, which is for the stage manager. So the person that was just backstage and around the main stage, and that's it. Steve and I couldn't walk for about a week. But from time to time, you would just, in between running between tasks, you would just stand there and the music would come through and you would think, it's happening. It's actually happening. There are people out there having the time of their life with a beer in their hands, watching a band that's giving it their absolute all, and the magic happens, you know. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. It's absolutely true. We had decided, hopefully this year is going to be different because we have a team now and people will be able to take over some of the tasks. But the two things we've decided is, last year, we promised each other we will each watch at least one band. So which one did you watch?
Will I watch?
No, which one did you watch last year?
Last year. I didn't keep my promise. I didn't catch a single set.
Yep, same here. Didn't manage to do it. I watched one song by Riders Creed because I really wanted to see Riders Creed, and that was it. So can we enjoy it? Yes, we enjoy it, but do we get to see it? Maybe next year. Maybe next year.
I got most of my kicks, if ever you're going to allow yourself a bit of an ego in this industry at this level, it's going to be on the day. That is where you're going to allow yourself an ego. And I remember my my nephew who was there, and he was just there and he was enjoying things, and it was his first time of doing anything like this, young lad. And I tell you what, come here. Took him backstage, just took him round the back to the stage and just crept up the steps, looked through, like, here you go, have a look. And I looked with him, and for him it was a big thing, and for me it was a big thing as well, because I could see those people. I stopped concentrating on the band and just saw so many people enjoying themselves, and I thought, that'll do for me for definite. You know, look at this, it's the sun's shining, people are drinking, they're jumping around, they're having a good time. And so that was my main enjoyment. That was my big ego, and just in myself, I thought, yeah, you helped to do that, and that was better than watching any band set, just seeing it in its entirety happening.
The one thing that I had two moments, one right at the end and one right at the beginning, because I had the honor of opening the gate and letting people in, because everybody else was busy and they had to come in. We were running late by a few minutes. So when I opened the gate and the first person came in, that was just, I cannot describe that feeling. It's something I remember all my life. And then the second one was, I was running around backstage trying to sort out security for the night shift, which I'd made another pig's ear. But anyway, we got it sorted. And the Wild Hearts were on stage and they were really going for it. And then we ran out of time, and then they kept going. And then there was another encore and another one and another one. And by this point, after you've been filling in paperwork for a year, you're thinking, we're never going to get a license again. And there was another encore and another one and seven encores. It was like, oh, they must have had a brilliant time. And you just let go of the paperwork, you let go of the worry, and you think, there is rock and roll happening right there. That's how it works. So what if we don't get a license for next year? We got 7 encores out of the Wild Hearts. Brilliant.
It must have been something to do with Gingers, that, because I didn't know you at the time, obviously, but I remember Sour Tusk, who we all know. They played, obviously, and I'd messaged Nick beforehand, because obviously we know Jake doesn't communicate. So I said to Nick, let me know how it goes, mate. So I got this message as soon as it finished, most of which I couldn't repeat here, and most of it didn't make anybody any sense to any, because we've all seen Nick's ramblings. And I basically put, so it went well then. So I got another diatribe of bull that was, but the thing with it was is that he was absolutely buzzing about it. And that's, so you've got it at either end of the spectrum on your stage, you know what I mean? You've got the local band, you've got the Wild Hearts.
Yeah.
So it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Nick and Jake, just as important that they felt the same as an old hand like Ginger and the Wild Hearts who've seen it 100 times. If both of those bands enjoyed their experience equally, it's a win in my book. It doesn't really matter whether they're a world-renowned rock star or whether they're a pair of scallywags from the back end of Sheffield. It makes no odds to us.
That they are.
That's what gives us that buzz. That's what makes us do it again when everybody said, God, that's just insane. Why on earth would you put yourself through that?
Yeah.
You know.
And don't wear new boots on the day. You will regret it.
Love it, absolutely love it. So obviously we had massive plans for 2020, and then the dreaded COVID came along, ruined it for everyone, every man, every person in the UK, the rock scene, the music industry. It's all gone absolutely nuts. 2021, you've got an amazing lineup already, which it's just quality. The likes of, as you said, Massive Wagons, Collateral, Hell's Addiction, Scam. How do you go about picking these bands? How do you go? What's the process?
It's a combination. It's a combination of what's current at the moment. You have to. What we have, our model is a very good business model underneath, with rock and roll icing on the top. Anybody who tries to put something together purely on rock and roll, you're in very dodgy territory here. Anybody who wants to do pure business and they know nothing about rock and roll is also in very dodgy territory.
People will see through that.
People will see it. People can smell the farmyard from a distance, and they'll see through it straight away, because we can, you can, they can, everybody can see it. So you pick bands by what we wanted was, you have to have a name at the top. That's the bums on seats. Okay, it's so you have to go what's either relevant or current, or alternatively a little bit of, okay, what hasn't everybody else got? You have to have that little USP, your unique selling point. Like, okay, that's why we grabbed hold of Doro.
Who is absolutely brilliant.
Doro's, if this festival was going ahead in Germany, it would have sold 30,000 tickets by now. Doro is huge on the continent.
She's very slim,
but but generally she doesn't come to the UK that often. And so, like, okay, she is a star in her own right, but nobody else is taking any notice here. Let's do it. Let's go for it. But on the same thing, you've got to say, okay, Massive Wagons are very current. We actually were lucky enough to book them before their latest album went top 10. And so, like, we were, you know, we sat there at home doing that, you know, like, yeah, nice one. But because we knew we were onto a winner. So that is your bread and butter. But other ones, the bands that are in there, it's just inspirational. Yes, you know they're current, you know their quality, you know people are watching them. And the aim is to put as many of these names on as you can, without oversaturating your own market. It's I would never, and we would never decide, okay, let's put 120 bands on with 3 stages and multiple clashes.
No.
So we can, all right, that's okay. People have choice then. They've got a choice of bands. But for us, it's like, okay, come to Rockin the Bowl, you'll see every single band that's playing. And so there's a collection of bands that are doing really well. People like them. They're good quality, and they are down to earth, approachable, real bands. The kind of bands that you yourself, John, you've got these guys, and on your roster, you've got these guys that you're, bringing through, this massive minefield of rock and roll. And the one thing about these bands, apart from their stage presence and their quality, is that they're like you and me. They're real decent people and nice people. And when we come across a band that is really nice and really approachable and not so
don't believe their own hype
don't believe their own hype too much, that speaks volumes to us. And we love that, and we know the audience likes that too. It makes the festival inclusive. We're all in it together from the top to the bottom. So that's how we pick our bands.
So we've talked about, your business model, and we've talked about, that there's that you have to have that mixture, etc. So, and you've talked obviously about the Doros, the massive wagons, and what I like about you is you don't pick the same ones that every bugger else is picking and putting on it, because you see the same bands and lots of these festivals, and it's just not right. So let's flip it now. Let's look at, if there's somebody watching this program and watching us now that's in a band, and I've never heard them, and you've never heard of them, and Ian's never heard of them, what advice would you give them about what they can do to get themselves to your attention and other people's attention that are like-minded to you?
Well, it's a rather big question, that, and it will be unique to each band. But I would say the main things are: be professional in the way you present yourself. So things like have artwork and logo which are there ready to be sent, because as somebody who makes posters all the time, it really means a lot to me if I can get your logo within 2 minutes, or I have to throw through the internet and clean up a fuzzy Facebook picture to get your logo. Okay, it really makes a difference. And few people have had burning ears after that. Have a pack that you sent, but don't make it impersonal. Make sure you address the person that you're sending it to. Make sure you include who you are, who is in the band, what are your social media links if you have any, and any YouTube videos that are worth watching. And don't worry if they are from a phone recording, if that's all you've got. It's a start, but explain it in the email. Say, look, we haven't been on the go for a long time. We did that gig in a pub. That's the only recording we've got, but we're just about to launch our EP, etc., etc. So the person who is reading the email knows that you are aware of the quality, but you're not ashamed to present yourself, not embarrassed. And then, for God's sake, get the name of the festival right. Like, really?
The old copy and paste mistakes.
Yeah.
You'd be so amazed at some of the ones we've had. I mean, I've had.
They do try, but.
Hello, we would really love to play "Rockin' Your Bowels." It would mean a lot to us. Okay, let me stop you right there. Please do your homework, guys.
Go on the website, find the correct email address. Most festivals have several email addresses, and if you send it to the wrong person, or to the Facebook page, or to whatever, to Messenger, it goes to the wrong place, takes longer to process. So and then do a follow-up after a while. We've had one band, I'm not going to mention names, they've been very, very communicative. We haven't had the chance to get back to them yet, but I know of them because they've built a relationship with us.
They'll get there.
Yeah, and they are cool. They're very, very cool. So make sure that you present yourselves professionally, and at the same time, something which Steve very much holds as very important is build a relationship with the audience. Talk to the fans. Don't just post a track in a group and leave it at that. Comment on other people's tracks. Engage with them. Engage with the people that you think you've seen at a gig. okay, this will get you a lot further than just sort of the difference between cold calling and word of mouth, if you know what I mean. If you just keep posting random videos, then that's like cold calling. Nobody will engage in it, no matter how talented you are, unless you are absolutely, unless you're Pink Floyd, the new Pink Floyd.
Good luck with that one.
I'd like to see that. If you are the new Pink Floyd, please get in touch. But yeah, engage with the audience.
It's. I think the thing is that I've found with musicians and bands in particular, and as I say, I used to sing with bands, and I was probably just as guilty as we were just focusing ourselves. We focus on what we want, and we don't actually. And it's about, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So I would need, if it was me now, what I would be saying is, what do I think they want? They want me to make life easy for them. This is who they are. All the stuff you said. But what they'll do is, and they'll do it with me, they'll send me a thing saying, I really want to sign to your label. I don't have a label. Right. Well, I think you could manage us, and it's some hip hop band. And I've nothing against hip hop, but I know nothing about it. You know, and I'll always answer them. And then you'll get some of them really taking umbrage, and then they're starting to go, oh, well, it's because you're this. And I'm like, no, it's just, like, I know it's not, I know you never picked up a guitar or a bass or a microphone or a set of drums to do business, but it is business.
Yeah.
It is business, and you need to be business.
Yeah, we have this sort of, I mean, at the end of the day, we at our level, and I'm not saying our level is not important, it is vitally important to the industry. It's probably more important than the big boys, for the future of rock and roll. But to be fair, no disrespect to anybody whatsoever, we and you and people like us, we're not Andy Copping. And those bands aren't AC/DC. You've got to really work together on this. It's if you're sending generic emails and we're sending you generic supplies that we've copy pasted from somebody else, we're kind of getting nowhere. And this festival relies on the next generation, and the next generation relies on people like ourselves to make it happen. And we have to have a connection. It's got to be, real. It's got to be this, again, grassroots rock and roll, like it was for every generation before us. This is our turn. I'm not the youth of today. You're not the youth of today, but we're part of it. It doesn't mean we can't be part of it. And it has to be very real in order for these bands to progress to the point where they are the rock stars of tomorrow. But please, guys, if you're in a rock band, be confident, be positive, but don't think you've made it yet. Still connect with the people you're communicating with in a real way.
100%.
Definitely. And that leads us nicely on to my next question for you guys. So, outside of Rockin the Bowl, do you guys go to any gigs where you go unsigned or signed and go, I want this band. This band will be on our stages next year.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Okay.
Go for it, you book the band.
A prime example of that is Sons of Liberty.
Oh, yes.
We went to Rock and Blues. We love Rock and Blues. It's just down the road from us. It's a lovely festival.
We love it.
Friendly, chilled, not too vicious, not too expensive, just a good all-round festival. And I can't remember who was on the main stage. I think it was Pete Way, R.I.P. bless his soul, Pete Way, what a legend. He was on the main stage, but it was kind of cramped and claustrophobic, and it was, excuse my French, persisting it down outside.
It was like a sheet.
Absolutely sheet. And we went to the outdoor stage, and there was about 4 or 5 different people outside huddled under their things, and Sons of Liberty were playing. There was bikers with squidgies cleaning the stage as they played. and they soldiered on, and they put in a
Absolutely.
blistering set.
We were dancing. It was brilliant. We
By the-
forgot about the rain completely.
By the end of it, we just looked at each other and just, yep,
Yeah.
legged it straight to the side stage. Guys, come here. Can we talk? Just
they-
like that.
And they agreed, and it was just amazing. Just
So-
there and then.
The short answer is absolutely
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
It's quality, absolutely quality.
So if the final question from myself is, if there's anybody watching this, so we've covered the young bands, right? So there's some younger people, or people who've never done it before, and they'll listen to this and they are encouraged to take that step of, I'm going to promote a gig. I'm going to start a gig, a promote it, or a small one-day festival or whatever in their local pub. What's the best advice that each of you could give them? Just even if it's a one-liner or short, what's the best advice that you could give them?
I would say take care of yourself. Do your time management really well.
Okay. As a quick one-liner from me is, in about 5 years' time, I hope to be having a strong drink out of a coconut on a Caribbean island. It's your time. It's not my time. You do it.
Damn,
When
that was much better.
We've been there, we've done that, we're doing it now, but the future is yours. Keep it going. When I'm really old and sat there in a nursing home, boring the nurses to death about how I once put on a festival, you be the one that makes sure this continues. Keep it going. Don't let it die off.
Yeah.
Have the same passion, the same drive that has kept rock and roll alive for so long. It's in your hands, guys.
And to be fair, it's never too late, because the first ever event I put together and run was last year, and I was 58. So even if you're 58, there's still a chance.
Of course there is.
Yeah,
Of course there is.
fair play, John. If you're old, still do it anyway.
Yeah, but you're only
If you're young,
listen,
still
never
do it
too old.
anyway.
Never too old to rock and roll.
That's right.
Good old Jethro Tull, they knew how it was.
Well, guys, what can I say? Thank you very much. Your time has been precious to us, and I hope it's been worth a while for everyone who's watching. All I can say is thank you very much again for giving us your time. It's been amazing.
It's been so much fun. Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you to everybody for bearing with us and listening to us ramble on. Thank you.
Well, all that's left to say now is we have been the Scouser and the Scot. Until next time, hit that cowbell and subscribe. Thank you.